Hello. Everything you're seeing here was an experiment, and as experiments often do, things go wrong in them. So, the most obvious one is blurry. I haven't filmed my desktop much. It's about to become clearer. The whole sketch section is blurry, and then when I start painting, it is significantly better. So we're about to hit that. I sped this section up twice as much. It's 12 times speed, and everything else is 6 times because I wanted to get through that. So it was the first 30 seconds, but not the first 3 minutes. Thank God. So the other thing I noticed is that this sheet of paper, I had taped it down at some point months ago, and then I got distracted. I never did anything with it, so I decided to try watercolor with it. And I thought it was watercolor paper because I taped it down, which suggested I was using wet medium with it in my idea. But I think I probably just meant to use a few inks, sparingly as a garnish, because this is not paper you can use watercolor, which I'm realizing at this point. So this is thing 2 that went very, very wrong. So by this point I'm like, okay, it's not gonna be good. But you have to commit to these things. So I wanted to see how good I could do. So I was struggling a lot, both with the paper and also with my filming setup. In order to capture it in widescreen, I kind of had to pull out farther, which meant I couldn't lean over my work at all, or else you just see the back of my head. So I was really struggling because I'm one of those artists that I just hunch my back and crouch over my work like a witch over a cauldron. So this is unnatural for me. I'm doing my best. And what I'm realizing now is that I really should not have put my water on the top right, because that's where it is, and that's why you keep seeing my shadow of my arm. It's because I have a lamp to the right, and then I have my water to my right, so every time I go for water, you can see it. I'll work on that. Another thing you might have noticed if you've been around for a while, usually I do a music one with speed paint with music on Tuesdays, and then the talking one on Fridays. I don't think there's going to be one with music for this one. I think there's just going to be this one video because I feel like I have to explain myself for the 30 seconds of just blurriness at the beginning and all of the mess that this is. I don't want anyone to be like, wow, this is the normal level of quality. I wanted to do something else. I couldn't think of any ideas of anything I super wanted to draw, or rather, I just didn't want to draw traditional. Not traditionally. I wanted to try traditional for the first time in a while. I didn't want to draw digitally. Just something about that. I didn't want to do it today. I did want to get a video out, so I was like, I can use that one sheet of paper. It's obviously good for what I want to do with it. So it's really hard to judge the colors because of how easily saturated it got with water. It just completely changed the color, and it's not true to color at all. Also, I'm not sure about the video settings or what I can do with my light, because I don't feel like the colors themselves are quite true, on the video, especially the pink. It's not quite as vibrant as it is in real life. I believe with the finished pictures, I managed to kind of capture a pretty close color to what it actually looks like, but the video is a little washed out, which it just is what it is. I'll have to figure something out about that or whatever, because there's a lot I can see that I want to improve in here. Now I do kind of like the drawing itself, like the underdrawing. I was kind of really inspired, and by inspired I did look at reference, but I didn't copy anything exactly from manuscript from 1415, and it's by the Limburg brothers, but I can't remember the name because it's in French, and like any foreign language that I don't know, when it just goes in my head, it immediately leaves because I don't know what the words mean. So it's a book of hours from 1415. I feel like it's just called based on the guy who commissioned it. I don't know who that is. I forgot. But this is actually kind of a mixture of two on one of them, because there's a girl with a pink dress that looks very different from this. And her hair is blonde and loose. She has a bit of a headband that I didn't do. And then there's another one that has a dress that is cut like this, but it's blue and green sleeves. So I kind of changed things up a bit. I didn't draw any of the jewelry. So that's the kind of the inspiration. It's a very famous manuscript. I hadn't done anything historical in a while, and I wanted to try it out. Here I am adding a bit of like a kind of rosier. I wanted the sky to look different, noticeably different from the hills, because she has like these rolling hills behind her. And one of the ways you can like show distance is that as things get more in the distance, they become slightly bluer tinged. So those are the second layer of hills are very far away, and that's why they have that different shade of green. But then I didn't want it to fully just kind of blend into the sky, so I decided it was kind of maybe or just like kind of just the very end of a sunrise, probably. One of those pink sunrises. Rather than a red, but that was what I was adding there. I'm kind of going on the edges so that you can see, I guess, the separations, because it kind of got lost. And I mostly use watercolors. I do use some other stuff at the end, because I was like, I want to like this. I will give it every chance to be likable. And I like her hair at the end. I will give myself that. Her hair at this point is looking rather tragic, but it turns out. So I'm just trying to add shadows and struggling. Because it like soaks through so fast, the water, I can't do like large washes easily at all. I'm already not good at that because I'm new, but it would just completely come in, and then I couldn't add more water because the paper would disintegrate if I did. So it was really unpleasant for these large areas. But the detail work was not that bad, but I didn't have the patience to do it really well, because I didn't. It was really frustrating to be working on a thing and be like, I already don't like this, and it's never going to turn out. Like, I was feeling really grim about it. Like pretty early on. So, like, already before I found out that there was this not paper for wet medium, really, I already was feeling kind of defeated about the whole blurry image thing, because it's, obviously I filmed in sections, and I'd already checked that section of film by the time I colored anything. Yeah. So I'm going with details and trying not to overdo it, and accidentally overdoing it on the torso, and then trying to correct. There's a lot of correcting that's going to happen there. I'm doing a lot of like kind of vertical lines to like break up the kind of large area, because I couldn't do an even wash with the paper situation and my lack of skill. I decided I needed to work at essentially breaking up that shape so that it doesn't look even, but it doesn't look like it's meant to look even, because sometimes you can tell when something was meant to look even and it doesn't. So I was trying to disguise it and pretend I meant to do that. Classic art trick, just pretend it was purposeful. Here I am adding kind of the shadows to her skin. I'm gonna add pinks to her face and like chest area later, like rosiness, which kind of gets out of hand, and I end up accidentally throwing away a lot of the shadows. Yeah. Ultimately, I think there are certain aspects I really do like. Like, I like the purple underskirt area. It's actually like a kirtle, so it's a full dress. That's why the sleeves are the same color, but the skirt area I think looks really good. I wish it was more clear, the lining color versus the dress color, because I went with like a slightly cooler pink for the lining and a more vibrant reddish pink for the outside. Largely because I'd initially intended to leave the inside white and shade that, and then I put pink on it, and I was like, oh god, because I knew her dress was going to be pink, so I just made it a different pink. So, oops, it makes it kind of hard to see her hanging sleeves that way. Here I am adding like the details to her hair. So first I just did like a kind of pinker color and did strands, and now I'm adding shading. One of the big reasons I like her hair is that it really came out, like, I felt like you could tell a lot of the manuscript inspiration from the hair. And I'm proud of the colors I chose. Like, blonde is tricky for me because I tend to go towards strawberry blonde because it's hard for me to be confident with like colors, because like it's like yellow, but it's also kind of greenish sometimes, but it's not yellow. If it's too yellow, it looks unnatural. It's a very tricky thing for me. Like, it's a lot of going back and forth, and that's why I mix so much of the shadow color. If you see on my palette on the right, it's because I messed up a bunch and had to add different colors to fix it. Yeah, that's where I kind of got it out of hand with the amount of water on the face. So I think I lost some detail, but I think it works out in the end. Yeah, here's the hard cut to things dry. Behind the scenes, I have a hair dryer, and I was speeding things along because I wanted to get it done in one night. I did not want to stretch a drawing. It was just like a practice drawing over multiple days. So here I am using colored pencils, both to like up contrast and also to draw some details in. Kind of rearrange some things. I have more experience with colored pencils, so I wanted to kind of fix it up a bit. Add some of the details I lost back in. And I have some other stuff I'm going to use. I'm going to use like an opaque watercolor. It's white. It's called like Pro White, and it's sold separately. Which is just that I got it for a different purpose. I got it as essentially to use as like whiteout if I'm doing comics. Oh, and yeah, here I am trying to blend some stuff away on her dress. So I haven't gotten to the white yet. I kind of skipped ahead accidentally. Just sharpening some of the lines, going over things, adding a bit more variation of color in some of the pinks. So adding a bit of peach there so it stood out a bit more, deciding it was too much peach, adding some white. Yeah, because I wanted like a warmer color, because I wanted the outside to really stand out from the inside. I don't feel like I ever fully accomplished that. I really feel like at any moment I should be doing the yep, I'm using the Pro White now. That's the thing you can see just barely in the corner. And it really is just like, you can water it down or you can use it thick, and it's pretty good at covering if you use it thick. So I'm carving out some of my errors. Adding some highlights, especially highlighting the eyes and the nose and stuff like that. And that is a brush I'm using. Just it looked kind of like the colored pencils or like the pen, but it's a brush. I'm gonna use. Okay, I'm still doing the shoulder. There I am going into the hair. So I add some hair. I feel like I kind of overdo it on the left side with the white. But I do like that. I enjoyed this for the hair because it was opaque, somewhat opaque, semi-opaque, so I could kind of cover some of the overlapping strands and stuff like that. Go over areas that were colored with something else and like incorporate a hair strand that was overlapping other hair strands and not see them underneath, which is really good. And after this, there's one more step, which is that I have these cool metallic inks, which I now think is probably what I was doing with this paper originally. I was probably just going to draw something and then use metallic ink on it as like a highlight. So it didn't need to be sturdy paper. But I did use the metallic ink at the end, and it's good. You can see it a little bit in the shadows. There's going to be a picture at the end where you can see it more. It has like mica in it and stuff. But I just added that to her hair. This is kind of the final image. It's a bit more vibrant, a bit lighter. This is the hair taken with flash to hopefully get some of the shine visible. And that's it. Thanks.